Shut up and sit down.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Nerdsplaning Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jose Romero.
Happy Nerd Day, everybody.
Nerd Day. It is the week in geek. Here with you, talking about all the twists and turbulent changes going on just when you think it's the end of the year. And you're like, you know what, guys? It's going to be real mellow. We're all just getting into the groove of the holiday season. No. None of that. Universes are being destroyed. Continuities are being wiped out. It is Crisis on Infinite Earths, except it's one Earth and one company alone. It's primarily DC.
I know, it's like a second week in a row of big DC stuff. You know, we did our reboot show last week, and it's just a continuation of that. We'll get into all that in a second.
And
more news.
I will say, to some of the news from this week, kind of validates what we assumed was going to happen last week.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll get into all the good stuff out of the world of the DCEU. They're still calling it that. I don't know. Whatever.
No, now it's just DCU.
It's just DCU.
Now it's
Is
just
that
DCU.
what it is? I forget.
That's it, DCU.
I don't know what the hell they're doing these days. I don't think anybody does, except one guy, and that's James Gunn. And he talked a lot this week, and good for all of us. A lot of good stuff to kind of nibble on. And beginning next year, it's going to be very exciting. You know, we'll get to that.
According to him.
Well, yeah, this is from the source. It ain't us making this shit up. But before let's get a little appetizer before we get to the main course, right? Just to kind of whet the palate, if you will, because I don't want to leave out Sony. Every so often they drop some stuff, and this is actually it's probably the first show that we won't feature any Marvel stuff. That hasn't happened in a long time. So they've been pretty quiet, and that's fair. But let's do a little Sony, man, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The trailer dropped this week.
Really enjoyed that trailer more than I expected. Tons of like little Spider-Man nerd Easter eggs. Really, what it is if you've read Amazing Spider-Man, basically what Sony's saying is that every time Peter Parker's designed the new costume, there's an entire other reality where that costume is Peter Parker's main costume. Yeah. That's what it basically is.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, cool. I remember that storyline. That's cool. Some of them are like sort of like Marvel what ifs that they've done as well. It's like, oh, I remember that, and that's kind of a cool version of it too. That's fun. But I was pleasantly surprised that instead of being really bombastic like the back half of it was, I thought the whole trailer was gonna be bombastic. The first half was actually kind of like nice and sweet.
Yeah, with
and
the
like
mom, she had a really nice speech or whatever to him. I really like that, you know, because listen, the first one did have a lot of heart to it. You know, let's not forget that, right? Which made that movie so good, right? So I'm glad they're kind of keeping that here, and that was a really nice and her kind of. I like
the Stan Lee flash. Like, don't forget, guys, it's all started with this guy. Like, nice little. No speaking, just a big smile with passing the costume.
That's a cool.
Great.
That was a nice touch. Very nice touch.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks great. I mean, obviously, they didn't reveal too much about the story. It's too early for that. It's not till June 3rd, I think. We'll be talking.
Which, by the way, I just want to interrupt you for a second. For our fans out there, when Spider-Verse comes out, we have very extra special guests.
Right.
Can't even talk about it.
That's right.
But
yeah,
you're gonna
I
be
forgot
super
about that
excited. We want to let you know our special guest.
Yeah. It'll be a few months from now, but yeah, the movie drops in June. But it looks great. We're gonna know a trailer in a couple of months, I'm sure, of course, because obviously the story, I haven't really said anything much. We know it goes back to the multiverse, but that's about it. How and why, whatever. But yeah, all the cool Spider-Man, and then they said I want to say it was either 200 or 400 characters that they had.
I heard
it's a lot. Either way.
Yeah, I heard it's something like 100 characters, but there's like 1,000 animators or something like that.
It was a huge number, and obviously this is part 1 of 2. Right? Yeah, there's part 1 or 2. Lord and Miller behind. This looks really fun, man. I love the first one. Just absolutely love the first film. I can't wait for this one. The animation. I heard that there's different animation style. I don't think the trailer highlighted that, but
it was real subtle. It was real fast, blink and you miss it kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It was too quick, but that's fine. But they show footage over at CinemaCon earlier this year, and they said that scenes with different types of animation. And
right. Well, we saw that with the first trailer where they're going through like that weird sort of like Indian art style version of New York. You saw a little bit of that.
A hint of it, but they really go deep into it, and so that's fascinating, right? That's creative. Right. I can't wait for this. This looks super cool. I mean, yeah, come on, Sony. This is the best thing Sony has is this.
Well, I mean,
And Morbius.
If nothing else, it's going to be pretty to look at. I mean,
No,
if nothing else.
I have no doubt it's going to be good.
Because the first movie was such a good story and pretty to look at, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's one thing that Sony is doing right recently, it's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Recently.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
No Way Home, and then this is a great 1-2 punch. Now, Spider-Man adjacent, they're dropping the ball, they're cutting fingers, they're falling into the soup. It's a mess. But Spider-Man proper, nail it.
Well, if you got to get one thing right, it's Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? Just get that right, and you figure out the rest after, right? Pick up the pieces.
And that was never that hasn't been a guarantee in a hot minute.
But you know, with Spider-Verse, obviously with partner Marvel has been, you know, so yeah, we got Morbius. I get it. And Venom. I'm not gonna shit on Venom. You know, Venom's fine. It's fine.
I can't wait to see Craven or El Muerte.
That's the man. Well, actually with Madam Web too.
You know what I will say. Madam Web sounds potentially cool.
It does, but
potentially.
Hold
potentially.
On. Well, what I know, Spider-Man is good. Spider-Verse. I know. I'll just put all my eggs in that basket. If we
I'll put it this way. Madam Web sounds like a date that you got on Bumble because the girl has to like you back. So you're like, this might be kind of cool, but Craven is like a Tinder date. Anything can happen. There's no guarantee.
Craven's like. I'm afraid it's gonna be, sometimes when the girls take those pictures, high pictures, you don't get a really good
view
of it all. She has sunglasses on. It looks okay. Then we see her like, oh man, come on, guys. Like little baby, sweet little catfish action, perhaps.
This photo is at an angle and 10 years ago.
Yeah, right. Meanwhile, 5 years later and 50 pounds later, hey, how you doing?
Hey, stop talking about me.
We're all guilty of it. But that being said, so there's the little Sony news. Now let's start with DC stuff, and I look at a little kind of circle back. So I did talk about Patty Jenkins, right? And the stories went around, and I said here, this is not my scoop, but that I heard that she said there was no script, that she didn't walk away because they didn't like what she did or whatever the case is, that she was just told they weren't doing it, right?
Well, she came in with a mic check.
She did. She came in and said exactly what we talked about last week, right? Where she's like, I didn't walk away like they said I do it. They weren't going to continue with this version of it. And that was the truth lies in there. I was like, which is fine. So she did confirm it. Good for her for coming out and defending herself. You know what? Because it was nonsense. She didn't walk away. It made us look really bad when she said that, I guess, they didn't like her treatment. She took a ball and went home, right? That was the story. That's not what happened. And I said that last week,
right?
And it was accurate and it's obviously true. No one's refuted that. But the interesting part of this is he talked about Rogue Squadron.
I know,
right? When you and I said, I was jokingly saying, "Well, she's got time for that," right? I was just totally joking.
We really nailed last week's episode. A lot of stuff we said really came out to fruition.
Yeah, I didn't even mean to nail that one. That just came out of jest, and she did bring it up. Now, to be fair, no one's confirmed this from Disney, right? She said the story. I guess she talked about how at the time, because she wanted to do Wonder Woman 3, she couldn't do Rogue Squadron. That was the story, Rogue Squadron. So they kind of told her, okay, we can come back when you're ready or whatever. I'm not really buying that, but fine. And now the opportunity presents itself. She's like, I think she's just saying that, well, I can go back to Rogue Squadron. The problem is, I don't know if Disney wants to make Rogue Squadron. So because she said it doesn't mean she's had conversations with the studio about it.
And according to your news break, the deal may not even be valid anymore because after Indy, it's all in the air.
Correct. And it's funny because I read the story this week and, kind of fortifying what I was talking about, where I guess there's a story out, and I forgot who ran the story, but they said this is coming from an outside source, not the actual studio. But with the smoke, there's fire, right? They're saying that she already agreed to a severance package, and I read that. Only
for DC or for Lucas?
No, I'm talking about Kathleen Kennedy. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. I'm going back to Kathleen Kennedy, right? Where, she agreed to a severance package already. Only, solidifying what I was saying, that she is out of there at some point very soon. So yeah, so on that note, if indeed she is out, which all signs point to yes, yeah, you're right, dude. Doesn't mean that the next someone's gonna walk in saying, hey, Rogue Squadron, let's do it. I mean, I don't know, because it could be someone like James Gunn want to clean house, start over, right, and start with a fresh with the clean canvas and saying, this is my vision, this is what I want to do. Rose Squadron may not be part of that vision. To be fair, right?
First of all, when you said Kathleen Kennedy's going to get a severance package, I immediately in my brain cut to that scene of Return the Jedi, like, it's a thermal detonator. Like I just thought,
she probably got a week's pay, and she went to Bob Iger, and he's like, "Pray don't alter the deal any further." Okay, I'll take it. So it looks like I'm excited because she's out. But again, we'll wait till that penny drops. But yeah, but that being said, the Rose Squadron thing, it's because she said it. Don't mean
look.
It's,
we and a million other people have said it. Top Gun in space, do it.
No, it's a great idea.
That's it. You can literally name the bad guy in Rogue Squadron. That's the best part. It's not the enemy. You can go the Empire, the First Order, the people, pirates. Like, you could name a bad guy, name a planet.
Whatever.
That makes infinitely Rogue Squadron become so much better now.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean,
do that.
So I'm kind of curious if she goes back to it. I don't know, because again, she's this year hasn't been kind to her, right? She's lost a lot of projects. Right? So far, it's been 3 projects.
It's been a rough year for Patty
3 big projects. Cleopatra was 1. Obviously, Wonder Woman 3 and Rogue Squadron. Maybe that comes back, but as of now, that hasn't gone further into development. So that's pretty big in a year. That's a bad year for Patty Jenkins.
Bad year, man.
Yeah, that's
bad year.
Listen, it's gonna get better. She got 2 more weeks, and maybe the skies open up for her next year. I don't know.
She might need to make another indie film because it's a little rough.
She may, because again, there's no guarantee that. I don't think right now, if this whole thing with Kathleen Kennedy's going to happen, which it seems like it is, I don't see him greenlighting any real projects right now. I don't see it. They're going to finish up with get Mandalorian, which is already done. I think Acolyte's in production, so I'll probably finish with that and kind of just slow down until whatever leadership is brought in, which that'll be the next big story. I have no fucking clue about that, but we'll find out. But yeah, so Patty, I'm sorry. Listen, 2 more weeks. 2023 will come up all Jenkins. I promise. Maybe not. But now.
A third Jenkins. Just come up a third Jenkins. Not but a third. A third is better than 2023 too. No Jenkins. So a third Jenkins is good.
Give her something to come on. I feel bad for her because, man, it's yeah. Oh, actually maybe last year and a half, because Wonder Woman 2 came out, 2021, and that did very well as they went.
That I think that was the beginning of her problem.
Yeah, that was like the snowball just rolled down the hill and just got really bad for her. So it is what it is, but at least now, I'm glad she came out and clarified things as we talked about last week. So, on that note, as far as clarification, now we know officially Mr. Henry Cavill, which I'm not happy about, but I get it.
Not happy at all.
And
James Gunn got a little bit of kerfuffle this week with a fellow comic book nerd YouTuber, The Den of Nerds, where he called out James Gunn. I said, you don't like Henry Cavill. And he's like, that's not true. You're this. And he went the whole thing. And then the next day, let go of Henry Cavill. I was like, wow.
Yeah, which we kind of knew. I mean, we kind of figured that out. I mean, it wasn't official, but yet now it's official. And even Henry Cavill came out and he tweeted out very poised words from him. So good for him, right?
Dude, Henry Cavill
took it like a man.
Classy,
yes.
Classy professional. In the business response, I'm going to voice mildly my disappointment, but I'm going to stay within the system in case other stuff happens.
Of course.
He handled it professionally.
That's a team player right there. That's how you handle that situation. You want to go home and crap, I get it. But in the public, you put on a statement. This is like status quo for state. This is the way every statement should be in this situation, right?
Absolutely.
Concise, sincere, congratulatory, very supporting of DC. So it's fucks to see him leave, though, man. I mean, it is what it is. But now he's definitely not in. But according to James Gunn, Henry Cavill still may remain in a DC.
That's not true. Read Cavill's thing. I am out.
No, out of Superman. But according to James Gunn's words on Twitter, I'm just what he said.
Right, I know. I feel like that's a spin. I feel like James Gunn spinned it a little bit.
It could be, but maybe it's not. I don't know. But they had meetings with him. They talked to him, and I think they're going to try to find something for him, and which it may very well be true, and I'm all for it. But I'll ask you this: let's assume this is true, or he moves forward with it or whatever. What could he? Who do you see him playing?
I have been thinking about this all day.
Oh,
Like,
every
because I'm a nerd. And I was like, ooh, what? First of all, like, immediately I was like, James Bond. You get him as James Bond. British,
Whoa.
built like a brick house. Like, he's ready for it. He did Man from Uncle. He did Mission Impossible. James Brown.
James
James Bond.
Brown. I don't know.
Ha!
Um,
A little problematic in
it could be.
2023. But you know what? Who am I to say he can't do it? He's an
I mean, I
actor.
can assume like
But no.
he's kind of recreating the role in that scene in Rocky Four.
Oh my God.
Um,
Please, just do that for me.
I mean, yeah,
But
I'm not,
James
not
Bond,
touching that. But
James Bond. Look, I have many
well,
franchises.
obviously James Bond, yes, but I'm talking about DC. Let's assume he stays in DC world. Like what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like,
For
who
DC,
who do you see playing? Like, who could you play in DC?
You know what? I've also thought about this as well. There is a character in DC called the Human Target. He's an assassin for hire who kills superheroes and goes like spy craft adventures. I would really like. It's such a like a not superhero, but in a superhero world kind of situation. It'd be really cool to watch him as sort of like the Born Identity world of DC.
But is that like a anti-hero or is like a villain?
He's an anti-hero. He's an
Okay,
anti-hero.
okay.
He's a spy.
Okay.
He's a heroic spy, but he plays by spy rules. He doesn't like save the world. He's like, I'll kill this guy to save the world, and but no one can know I'm even involved. Like he's very much like Black Ops for the governments that involve like tangential superhero issues. I would like to do that. Also, this is going to be sort of like a complete left turn as well. I wouldn't mind seeing him now. Maybe it's too close to Superman, but I would, if we're keeping him at DC, I would kind of like to see him as Martian Manhunter.
I had two options. That was one of them too. If that's how they're gonna
because
go.
He's already got the Superman-ness ready to go, but now he would just take it to the other level. Now, you tell me your DCs, and I have 3 of the franchises I'd like to see Henry Cavill in as well.
I had Martian Manhunter as my first choice.
Uh-huh.
The second one a little unusual, but I think Deathstroke would be nice.
Deathstroke would be nice
as a villain.
Yeah.
And that's completely opposite of Superman, so you're not confusing it. So I think it'd be kind of people will buy it more and seeing him as a villain as opposed to a hero. That would be kind of cool because he's big, strong, obviously got the physicality, and we see him do that villainous and role in Mission Impossible with the little mustache. Those are 2 that came to mind. But you mentioned the franchises. I know I assume James Bond will be one, which I completely agree with you 100%. I mean, he's available, guys.
He's available.
He's got the time. No Witcher. No talk about. Oh man, I'm not gonna say he's not having a Patty Jenkins type year. That's not overselling.
Yeah, it's not that bad. He's had almost a good year, and then he got pulled out from him because he got to do Black Adam.
That's true.
The studio told them that he was back in
the
before all
the
the
Witcher
changes.
came early this year, which is great. Yeah, so absolutely.
Yeah, so like I'm like all that was really cool. So he got more of a raw deal as opposed to Patty Jenkins, who just had everything go back.
Of course. And Henry Cavill left on his own accord, The Witcher.
Right,
so
exactly.
Like he was kicked out or fired. So yeah, but I got you.
Franchise-wise, if not James Bond, let's say Marvel, right? And everyone's like, oh, you could get him as Hyperion, you could get him as the Sentry. I feel like I would almost give him a Superman type character excuse for DC, but if he's gonna go Marvel, go away from Superman characters.
Agreed.
Something else. And I heard this, and it was really funny because I was thinking about this because I was reading the infamous Iron Man. Oh, and infamous Iron Man was when Tony Stark died. Victor Von Doom took over the role of Iron Man. He built a Doctor Doom-esque Iron Man suit, and he was in the Avengers and the whole thing. And I think Victor Von Doom, think about it. Victor Von Doom is a super handsome dude, and then he gets scarred, and then he becomes Doctor Doom. So imagine the voice he does for The Witcher.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually pretty good.
Right?
That's not bad.
Now, keeping in the villains, because I feel like if you're going to do Marvel, you're going to have a lot of anger from what DC did. So let's give him a villain.
I'd like to see him go the villain route. I think that'll be.
And so you know who my other character for Marvel would be? Because they're bringing in the X-Men. Imagine Henry Cavill, Sabretooth.
I don't see him as Sabretooth. I don't know why. I mean, I guess you could. It's hard. I'm just trying,
Think
I'm
about it.
trying to
He's
envision him.
so
'Cause
big
he's such
and
a
muscular
handsome
and
guy.
strong.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I see him though, but
I could
it
see
could
him
work.
really kind of going like I could see him really leaning into like that feralness. Not Liv Schreiber
No,
Sabretooth.
no, no.
But he would. I think he would make it. He would almost do the thing where he'd be really cold until he wasn't.
That'd be
And I think that would be a
interesting.
really cool
It's
stuff.
interesting. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. I'm still trying to envision it, but that's not bad. I was thinking, I was
But you
thinking
could
the
see
Blob, but that's just me.
no.
The Blob.
But you could see Doctor Doom way easier than Sabretooth.
Yeah, Doctor
apparently,
Doom,
right?
100% Doctor Doom. Absolutely, yeah. Because you're right. He's a
You have
good
to
looking
think
guy.
about
Yeah,
like
absolutely, yeah.
Doctor, like the Witcher's voice, and he used to do magic. So doing that magic like on a Doctor Strange level,
That would be
but
great.
also being incredibly smart.
Mhm.
I mean,
No,
it's all there.
I
It's all there.
that one I dig. That one I see. You said the minute you said, I'm like, boom, just okay. I saw it in my head. I'm like, yeah, that could really
You know what I
work.
mean?
That'd be
Now-
a choice. Yeah, I like that.
And then if I had to do a third franchise, and there's not a lot out that you would say a definite franchise out there, but I would like to see him in Sword of Sorcery, get him in the either Lord of the Rings or House of the Dragon, because you already have that sort of Witcher
I think
background.
he's too big for House of Dragon.
Okay,
Lord of the Rings, okay, maybe. But you're
because
right.
he's such a nerd about like good
Yeah.
stories.
I think he fits
that,
more
like,
in a Lord of the Rings world realm, right?
that's
You
what
know,
I'm saying. Like,
than
like
Game of Thrones, yeah.
right. So the Game of Thrones might be a little bit too like
that's-
in the mud for him.
Yeah,
But Lord of the Rings has that very high
distracting when
elegance to it. And
if I see
so
him go to, Game of Thrones, I'll be like, oh my god, I think Superman or whatever. I don't know. It's too distracting. Because they don't get big names to do those shows. Not like
and
most
one last thing. It's not a franchise, but they're going to start to do as a franchise. Live action Invincible, Omni-Man.
Yes, that could work. Or
With the mustache.
I'll give you live action
mustache.
Thundercats. I can see him as Lionel. Be kind of cool.
That's what I'm saying.
Now we're talking. You know
You
what?
got freed up.
I know they try to resurrect this franchise, but Masters of the Universe, him as He-Man, I thought would be nice.
That would be cool. I like that.
Or which I may have heard his name attached before, but Highlander.
Highlander would be good too. Yeah.
Even as the Kurgan or
John McCloud.
Or McCloud, either one. Or you can.
I go for McCloud.
I'm fine either way, but I think he'd fit right in that world too. But
I like that
let's
too.
See, you're
good
right.
call.
Let's see James Gunn was just giving us lip service with the whole we're offering something.
I feel it's a little lip service.
It could very well be. Don't get me wrong, but let's see. But obviously now it's confirmed he's no longer doing it. But on that note, we'll stay with James Gunn because he said a lot of stuff a couple nights, actually last night.
Yeah.
And we talked about what we felt he should go after. Well, how should he start this new iteration of DCU? We said either Justice League for me will be an interesting choice, but obviously I think we both agree Superman was a choice, right? And he came out a couple of days ago saying that's the priority, which it should be. You have to start Superman, right? So I'm glad he came out and said yes, that he's not going to pursue, make it a priority, but he's actually writing it and has been writing it for a while, from what he said. So this may be near finishing. So that being said, we may get, this seems like it'll be the first movie out of the gate written by James Gunn. You and I said he should be the one. His imprint should be on this first thing, right?
Absolutely. But not to direct, but definitely to write. We both said
I think he should direct too, if he can.
I don't think so. I think he should write it, and it should be only because I think with Superman, you need a Spielberg, you need an Abrams, you need a sort of like a guy who knows how to make it.
Don't say Abrams. Don't.
Visually, listen. Abrams cannot be responsible for writing. I've said this forever, but the man knows how to direct.
There's too much stench on Abrams now. I don't want to see him anywhere near this.
Sorry.
I think James going to bring something in, but I would like to see him direct because listen, set the stage, right? This is almost like a you treat it like a series, right? The pilot's usually done by the big name most of the times, right? Peacemaker is a good example. He started off and then handed it off to somebody else. This is what I want to see, but he is writing it. So that's good.
Because he did say this as well. He's speaking to Ben Affleck for directing. Imagine Affleck directing.
I don't think it's in Superman. I guess you're right. He did have a sit down, an actual talk with him. So this isn't
right,
this
exactly.
isn't Henry Cavill lip service. It seems legit, right? That he, they talked to Ben Affleck's interested in directing, and they're interested in reciprocating to have him direct something.
I feel it would almost be Ben Affleck coming full circle because he did do Hollywoodland, which is about the George Reeves Superman life story. So it'd be kind of cool that he did Hollywoodland about the first Superman actor for TV, and then he got to do the new DCU Superman written by James Gunn. I feel like it would have come full circle for him. I'd be a really kind of cool way.
Ben Affleck as directing. I'm glad they're talking to him, and I don't know if it's Superman. I don't think it is, but I wouldn't mind. But let's stay with that real quick before we get back to Superman real quick. So Ben Affleck, it's not Superman.
Right.
What do you see him directing? What would you like to see him direct?
What would I like to see Ben Affleck direct?
There's one obvious answer, but I have something else. But
I know everyone's gonna say Batman.
Which listen, I'm not gonna complain. I wouldn't say okay, right? He was gonna direct it before, and everyone
exactly
that treatment he did, that script, everyone just really liked that.
Wanted,
right?
They really wanted it. Yeah,
obviously, Mangialetto playing him. Maybe they go back to that. I don't know, but that's the obvious choice. I get it, and yes.
You know what? It'd be kind of cool to see Ben Affleck direct. It's gonna sound weird, but I think it could work because it's like Batman, but not Batman. Green Arrow.
That's an interesting choice. You're right. It's Batman-esque, right?
It's Batman-esque, but you can go different ways about it. He's not as dark as Batman in terms of his personality, but the city could be dark, and so you kind of have those things, and you could kind of play it like Hawkeye, in terms of the bow and arrow, not the tone of the Hawkeye, but like the skill set. So just remember, Hawkeye was Ronin, so you have that hand-to-hand combat level of it, but you have the arrows, and you could even bump up Green Arrow to be almost like a bullseye Hawkeye situation where like anything in his hand is like a weapon, and he never misses. And then you can even implement stuff like in the comic books, Green Arrow has a son called Connor, and Connor uses Buddhist Zen focusing, so he can close his eyes and just want almost like will his arrow to shoot at a direction, and without even looking, when he shoots it, the arrow goes in that direction, which would be a kind of cool thing to implement on the dad. Or so this way, when Connor gets it, it makes sense why he has that skill set because it came from his dad, and it'd be kind of a cool thing. So you can have a lot of crime, but Ollie is just so over the top and having such a good time doing, even though he's very broody and dark to an extent, he still has a good time. Dude likes he's got Black Canary as his girlfriend. He is what Bruce Wayne pretends to be.
Right.
That's Ollie. Yeah. Batman is Batman. He pretends to be Bruce Wayne. Green Arrow is I'm Bruce Wayne in a mask.
Yes.
This is how I'm gonna be. I'm joking, but when shit gets real, he's there. And it'd be kind of cool to kind of have both those worlds, but not do it. So my dark horse would be. And Green Arrow is part of the Justice League. So, you got that, too.
No, that definitely. After this, I love Ben Affleck's director. He's really good. He's great. And he's a nerd. He loves his shit, right? Which is another big thing, right? He'll do it just, no matter what he does, no pun intended, he'll do the property justice, right? If you will. The one that came to mind, just because that's been thrown out there in the ether, is Lobo.
But I wouldn't want him to direct Lobo.
I wouldn't mind because I think Lobo needs someone because that's a very unknown character.
James Gunn or Taika Waititi can direct Lobo.
Oh, not Taika.
Direct, not right.
No, I know.
Direct.
I love Taika, but
not right. Direct.
I think you really give Lobo needs juice, right? Having Momoa, if that's the case, helps, but having the name Affleck behind it, because this is an unknown. No one knows Lobo, right? For the casual fan, don't know who the fuck he is.
Sure.
Having someone with the name of Affleck, they're kind of bring it to the masses. Oh, this is by Ben Affleck, may help elevate that film, and he may elevate the character to where it needs to be, because it's hard, man. We've seen Black Adam not succeed because no one knows Black Adam. No one knew Shazam. That's the reason why they didn't do well, and they're not because they were good films.
To be fair, Lobo with Momoa, directed by James Wan, you get the original Aquaman team together. You got that. That's exactly Lobo's world is so up James Wan's
It is. I know James Gunn. He just partnered up. He's doing a production company, so I don't know how. I don't think he's gonna be involved with this anymore. But you never know. But that's I like that choice. But let's see. Again, that's another interesting announcement. But going back to Superman, listen, this is what we know for sure. And he talked about because someone asked him straight up. You and I, we said the same thing last week. But this is gonna be an origin story. And he's like, no way. This is his words, right? Thank God, right? Good. They're going with the younger version, which is obviously why Campbell's not playing him. And I guess to go back to the younger days, he's starting off at the Daily Planet, meets Lois Lane or whatever the case is. So
it's gonna be like Superman year 3.
Exactly.
Like it's not exactly. It's got a 2 year, almost like how the Batman is like Batman year 2, Superman year 3.
Yeah, along those lines, he's established. So that's a good thing. I love hearing that one. No more fucking origin stories, please stop. Save it for Lobo and Green Lantern and all that, fine. But
just like I said last episode, the movie starts with Lex Luthor getting off of the technicality. They weren't able to convict them. Like that's how it starts.
It's gonna be curious, like how it's fascinating because let's go back. So now we know it's a younger Superman, right? So we talked about casting last week. So knowing that little extra bit of nugget information, who do you see? You think it's an unknown? I mean, I couldn't think of.
We both couldn't think of anyone last week. I still, I went down a kind of rabbit hole to try to see who was out there. There's some really interesting actors that I wouldn't mind seeing, but like still no one that like popped in like, oh, this dude.
Right, agreed. I mean, I don't know. I still the Henry Golden thing I really like for Batman, but I think he could also do Superman.
Yeah,
I like him a lot. Youngish guy, good looking guy. He's got a good build. He can get big. Anybody can get big. This guy, was that Nice Johnny? I forgot from the Eternals, the Indian comic. If he can get jacked up, anybody can get jacked up, right? So whatever, right? A little 6 months in the gym, it's all good. But I still like the Henry Golding's a name that just kind of keep popping in my head. I'd really either like with Henry Cavill, either Bond or something like this or Batman. But it's hard. You're right. It's hard to find like a youngish 20-something, early 30-year-old actor that stands out like.
It's gotta be late 20s, early 30s. That's the sweet spot.
Exactly.
That's the sweet spot.
Between 20 and 32, right? That's the age.
28 to 32, like 27, 28 till 32 max.
I don't know. I can't think of anybody. You know what? Go with the unknown.
But I'll ask this because James Gunn is writing the script. What songs are going to be in the movie?
Oh man, that's going to be interesting. He's really good at music.
I already know one.
What's that?
Born in the USA.
I say bring in James Brown.
Oh, that's it, man. That's great. Absolutely.
Played by Henry Cavill.
That would be when it's the montage of him going across America saving everybody. In America. And he's like just helping a train and catching a boulder and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
A little kind of Rocky-esque montage. He's training, lifting trains.
Absolutely.
So listen, I am glad that James Gunn at least writing it. Maybe the direction or not, we'll see, but he's writing it. That's the right move, right? So, but and the last thing he mentioned was the slate is done. Which it's all planned out, mapped out accordingly. So, and he said early next year, I'm thinking first week in January, whatever, around that time, we're gonna get this announcements. The slate, maybe some directors, which I'm sure they've already had in line anyway. There's no question.
Right.
Casting, I doubt it. Maybe not. That's too soon for casting. Maybe Superman because he has been writing it for a while. And I'm sure in his head. Most writers, when they write something, they have an actor already in mind as they're doing it. So maybe they have an actor. Maybe. Super clear. But we're gonna get a big bomb dropped in the early part of 2023.
That's what he says. He goes early next year.
Early next year.
We're gonna get a bunch of announcements.
Yeah, there's none of this speculation.
And he said it's gonna be a combination of big characters that we all know. And like not so often. I mean, Lobo is not a big name except for if you're a super uber nerd. But I like to see. I like to see 3 big titles, 2 small titles.
Yeah.
That would be, I think, the best way to go
I'm
about it.
thinking maybe mention a couple of TV shows. Maybe I think they have in mind. It said it's all interconnected. So I'll throw this because we're not going to see. Let's assume he has been writing Superman for a while. fine. And it's maybe ready for pre-production pretty soon. Worst case, it's start filming towards halfway of the year. Maybe squeeze it in 2024. Maybe towards the end of that year, as bring Superman to start off.
For production to start?
No, for the movie to actually come out, be released.
Oh, I think that's too soon. That's way too soon.
If they get started by June, right? Like if they'll finish shooting by August, September, then it's 6 months post-production and stuff like that, be a little bit longer. They'll be ready by the end of the year. Like, November, October, December, that kind of release.
I can see, because there's next year there's 4 DC movies.
Next year, but
the last of the Snyderverse.
These are all lame duck films, right? For the most part.
Yeah. So what you're gonna need is really you go into production. You go into pre-production in 2023. You go into full production 2024. Movies released 2025.
Nothing 2024. I don't know. I'm not buying. I don't think they're gonna have a year with no big films.
Maybe one movie.
That's what I'm saying. I think
for
Superman, they can, if it's possible, to squeeze it in.
Superman for Christmas.
That's
Superman,
what I'm saying.
Christmas,
like late in the year, like Thanksgiving, Christmas. That kind of.
Yeah,
race,
I
right?
can see that.
That at least get something in on books for that year.
Yeah.
Right? And then 2025, whatever 2, 3 movies, whatever the plan is. I don't know. So. We know one Superman. I don't think there's any doubt Superman's going to be on that announcement, right? I don't think they're going to announce the whole 10-year plan, but they might announce the first 4 or 5 films. Let's say three movies they announce. Superman, 2 others. What are the 2?
Well, Lobo.
You think they announced Lobo that already? Okay.
I think they'll announce Lobo. Absolutely. If Jason Momoa already knows about it, he's in it.
Okay.
Unless Lobo is the bad guy in Superman, and that spins off into a Lobo movie.
Maybe. It's possible, I guess.
Because remember, Lobo is a space bounty hunter.
No, yeah.
That's what he is.
Which would be interesting. Maybe. That.
So he could be the mid-bad. And then, but it used the Superman movie to kick off a Lobo movie.
I mean, he could be introduced there, sure. That's fair.
Right,
Okay.
So I could see that happening.
Okay. So let's assume Lobo. That's 2. What's the third one?
Okay, so, and then the third one... I've said it before, but sticking with Emerald characters, I would be cool with either Green Lantern or Green Arrow.
I think Lantern's for sure the next. I'm not for sure, but I think Green Lantern's going to get announced. Superman. I don't think we get Batman, because this whole thing of Matt Reeves is really confusing, and it's just why I like Batman, and I want to see it continue with Matt Reeves, but I knew there's big confusion when Warner Bros. Greenlit it, because how many fucking Batmans are you gonna have? Right? And at the time we had,
and they said they're not gonna have 4 Batmans. It's 1 Batman. So what are you gonna do with that?
That's what I'm saying. And from what all reports say, that they're gonna keep Matt Reeves' version as a one-off, Elseworld, separate, whatever, right? So I don't know if they're gonna throw another Batman too soon next to the other Batman. I don't see that happening.
They may make a Batman 2. I almost feel
I see Batman 2, but Batman 2 won't be part of the announcement. It's not gonna be part of the DCU. Right.
Well, that's the thing. I almost feel like, because since the Batman 2 and the Joker 2 are coming out, I almost feel like Batman in the DCU will be one of the last movies they do.
Exactly.
Because they want to give it enough space.
And actually, now that come think about 2024, they will have Joker released, right? I mean, it's not part of DCU, but Warner Bros. Will have, I don't think the Batman won't be up. At least Joker will be. I think it is slated for 2024. So at least have one in there besides. But either way, but I think Green Lantern, Superman, it's not Batman, no Wonder Woman. I don't think. I'm still thinking.
I think you do Lobo, or you do Lobo, Green Arrow, Green Lantern. All 3 of those play. There's been other images that James Gunn has tweeted out, like Mr. Terrific, Deadman. I would see more Deadman than Mr. Terrific, or even Zatanna. You can kind of do the DC mystical side that's been very neglected.
That was rumored before. That's something they were talking about before. But again, that was under the old regime, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean,
or you do a new Constantine that it does nothing to do with what's his name, Keanu Reeves. Like,
well, that's the thing. But if they're moving forward, the Keanu Reeves, that's another one. They don't want to cross the streams. Right? They don't want to have 2 Constantines. I don't think they're gonna go forward with that Constantine movie now. I don't think so. Because I don't think that was ever part of the DCs. I was just Warner Bros. Doing something different. So I don't know. I'm just trying to
But
think.
I would like to see a Constantine
Who's part
movie.
of
If
the?
not, then as a
I'm
tandem
looking at
movie.
now the order of like everybody who's in Justice League and Firestorm, Vixen, Plastic Man, Supergirl, Captain Atom, Red Tornado, Hawkman, and Doctor Fate, Satana, Black Canary, Cyber.
Doctor Fate would be. We just saw Doctor Fate in Black Adam. That's why I wouldn't bring him up
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
not gonna happen.
They're gonna want a little bit of
Agreed.
distance.
Green Arrow, Billy Manson, Marsha.
Even though visually
You know
he looks
what?
awesome.
Not Flash is too soon. Well,
Too
you know
soon.
when?
Too
Well, I
soon.
don't know. I take it back because maybe depends on what they if they tweak, the Flash and to springboard into the new regime, if you will. We may get maybe see the new Flash, and that's something they may revisit.
Well, I
Soon,
mean, listen.
because
Anytime
you
you
can do
can
it soon, and it
establish,
won't cross the stream. Because like, oh, we just the movie just told you to switching the character, right, or the actor.
anytime you can establish the Flash is not Ezra Miller, you want to take that opportunity.
That's what I'm saying,
Well,
right?
like,
So
look, it's
let's
not
assume
me.
at the end of the, like we talked about, right? At the end, his face
Yeah.
and it's whomever actor.
Uh-huh.
Okay, then you can announce a Flash film, and but maybe you know what? I'm gonna go Martian Manhunter. This is since we on this subject. That will make sense.
Martian Manhunter's never had his own movie,
Yeah.
and he's on Earth, and he's Superman-esque,
Yeah.
but it's all aliens. I mean, there's a lot you can play with there.
That's what I'm saying because it kind of fits in theme with Superman. 'Cause I think he's going to a little more cosmic than Superman. I would assume so.
Yeah.
You need to. You really do. So he fits in as does Green Lantern. Those three.
And if you
and
notice,
even Lobo.
everything
Those
we've
make
talked
sense.
about is essentially cosmic or cosmic
That's
adjacent.
what I'm saying. And I know James Gunn was all about that in Marvel, right?
Right.
With the MCU, he was gonna lead that whole cosmic side of it, whatever.
Yeah.
So he got fired, but and it's it's so funny that him getting fired was DC's best day ever because. If he had not gotten canned, I don't think we never seen James Gunn.
Nope,
ever.
not at all.
He would have been earmarked for
We would be
Feige's
watching Ezra Miller's Flash right now with a Colombian Supergirl and a Batgirl movie. That's what we'd be watching right now.
If
it wasn't for that.
fired, they scooped him up, did a Peacemaker, Suicide, and there we goes, right? So hey, one man's trash, right? So yes, that's go figure. Nice going Disney, idiots. But yeah, listen, I can't wait to. This announcement's gonna be big. I think we'll do a show. As soon as something announced it, we're doing a show that afternoon.
Absolutely.
That night. Whenever that, I'm thinking probably second week in January because New Year's out. First week.
Yeah. You want to give a little recoup time.
Right,
Yeah.
everybody's drunk. Hey, give it a things slow. January things really slow down for the most part, right?
Right.
And then because Marvel already announced, we already know what they're doing, so it's not like they're gonna be popping up any news anytime soon.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think by second week January, boom, here it is. Drop the slate, and the internet's gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
They should at least give us one cast, not every casting, just one casting, kind of wet the beak. Because I think there's a lot of fans who are like upset about Henry Cavill.
Just let us know who's going to be Superman. That's all you need.
Just give us something to calm the mass. Because everyone's upset. Henry Cavill, they love Gal Gadot. I get it, right? We all do, right? So I understand that. And what are you doing? It's a necessary evil. You have to clean house. You just do. I'm sorry. I get it. I really do.
By the way, whoever they cast as Superman, who would you want to be? Because Lex Luthor is going to have to be in it. Not the main bad guy, but in the movie.
That's fine, yeah.
Who would you want to be Lex Luthor? You know who I want to be Lex Luthor? That Skarsgård kid that was in It. The plane.
Not Alexander Skarsgård. That's the other guy. Look at it.
But it's a Skarsgård.
It's a Skarsgård, yeah.
It's a
I
Skarsgård.
can't look it up right now.
Because he's played serial
Bill
killers
Skarsgård.
before.
Bill Skarsgård.
I would want him to be Lex Luthor.
You know what? That's a really good choice, actually. That really fits. Yeah, I like that. He's really good.
He's the kind of Lex Luthor that just by looking at him, he doesn't have to be in the movie. The fact that he's in that city is always in the back of your head. That's how great he would be.
Let me put up the Google. I'm kind of curious. Let's see put up an article on Screen Rant about who could play him. I'm just kind of curious what they have. Could be nonsense.
I don't know if they've announced anything, but
stop it.
Stop. Why? Bill Skarsgård.
Bradley
Come
Cooper?
on. I'm calling it right now. Bradley Cooper, too handsome.
You're right. He's too good looking. Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Too good looking.
No. Matt Damon.
No. Too old, unfortunately.
Army
too
Hammer.
old.
This must be an old article. Army Hammer.
It must be.
Army Hammer ain't playing nobody. Yeah. Fassbender. No.
Fassbender could.
Matt Mikkelsen. I like.
I heard Mads Mikkelsen's going to be playing Admiral Thrawn, so let him be Thrawn.
Well, I'm just saying I think he'd be a good Luther as well.
And also too old. Once again, if you're going to be doing a young,
well, I mean,
young
that's
Superman,
fair. I mean, I don't know how young Lex Luthor. I mean, you can have a different age, but fair enough. Oscar Isaac, get the fuck out of here.
Bill Skarsgård is going to do with. I do
like the Skarsgård choice though. I think that's a really good choice.
He's going to pull off what's his name tried to do in Batman v Superman.
Oh, yeah,
be young, eccentric, and weird but dangerous. Skarsgård actually knows how to do that.
Yeah, no, you're right. He was it. But yes, another great choice. He's too old, but Mark Strong would have been nice. Of course, in Kick-Ass and the Kingsman series.
Yeah, and so even Sinestro and Green Lantern.
Yeah, but a lot like him. But yeah, you're gonna go younger than. That's a good choice. Good call down.
Told you, man.
That's a good call. He's got the little nuttiness to him too. Yeah, he's really. Yeah, I do like him. He's really actually.
Watch Funny Games. That's how you know Skarsgård.
Yeah, he did another show on Netflix. It was really good. He played a true story about the Stockholm syndrome, the infamous bank robber.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I forgot the name of it, but yeah, that was a good too.
He's great. He's really good. He's like, oh man, yeah. Actually, he's gonna be in John Wick, next one.
That's right. He is in John Wick. That's right.
He's the big baddie. Yeah. So yeah.
You see, it's right there.
That's true. If you can do John Wick, you can do anything.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for John Wick because next year John Wick's coming out. Which brings me to a little quick announcement for next week's show. We are going to talk about the best of this year. Patty Jenkins won't make that list.
No.
Damn, that's cool. I'm sorry. We're also going to do our look ahead.
Big,
huge year next year across all spectrum, not just Marvel DC, but just we got tons of that too. There's a lot of good shit coming out next year, so we'll get into that next week. We'll talk about we'll do our top rankings for top films, top TV shows of the year.
We'll do our own pitches for things, like stuff we want to see. It's going to be huge. It'll be great.
Big show next week. But that being said, those are the nuggets for today.
Guys, that has been the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe here on YouTube at the Latin Nerd Network. We appreciate all the love you're giving us. Keep sharing with your friends. Keep tweeting at us. Keep letting us know what you want to talk about. Give us your opinions. We'll give us our takes back. It'd be super fantastic. Don't forget to follow us on the social medias at Nerdsplaning Pod on Instagram, at Nerdsplaning_ on Twitter. You can go to ericdasilva.com and get all the original audio episodes there live for you. No problem, no charges, right there for you. And while you're there, don't forget to pick up my album, Adorably Offensive. It is a great Christmas gift to those you love and especially those you hate. Guys, don't forget to go to dangerousquad.com if you want to look into a new graphic novel I'm working on. That'll be great for nerds of kids and parents of nerds, and it's for one and all from 8 to 80. It's great. I promise you, it's a good time. More stuff will be announced as I go through that as well. And don't forget to keep looking at all the shows here on the Latin Nerd Network, such as Nerdsplaining. And we have The Watch List and Thanos' Choice and other shows we'll be producing, hopefully in 2023 as well. We have more news than that, and including big special guests we have coming up next year for 2023. We have so many guests, guys. I'm super excited. We started off with a lot of guests. 2022, we kind of kept it between ourselves. A few guests here and there. 2023, big guests lining up. I'm really excited about the people that reached out to us that we're going to be working with them. So we'll let you know more about that as well. And keep on listening. So, guys, as always, I'm Eric Da Silva. This is Jose Romero. We have been Nerdsplaining. And if you don't know, now you know. Boom.